Okay, so you're just about to start your professional car, and you might have questions about where you start. Now, we're still going to go through the basics that we did when we made my first car the first time around. You still want to start off with a block and a regulations template. You still want to have these two sketches, because regardless of how, like the tools and features you're going to be using to build your car, you still need to know these, and this is really important for getting your car compliant. So, and that's from a real early point of view. So the block template is exactly the same, like the same one. It's the same block we used to make our previous car. So this one is identical. This shouldn't have changed. But the regulations template will be slightly different. Now, your wheels placement should really be based on your testing. So some testing, find out where the best places for the wheels are, and then move them accordingly. I just drop them in usually around 50 and 100 between the two of them, but you can have them tentatively in a spot and then you can always move them later on. But so wheel placement really should be dictated by your testing. Minimum length is still 170, so having this dotted line in here so you can get the car at a minimum length is still handy. But there's a couple of other things which will change in this space. Now, one of them is the height from the cylinder chamber, the bottom of the cylinder chamber to the ground is now less. So you can bring your car lower to the ground. You don't have to. I'm not going to say you have to have it lower, but because you can, well, I think you might as well, because it's only going to reduce your frontal area, which can only reduce your drag coefficient, having it lower to the ground. So in the previous category in cadet class, you have to have this 22 millimeters. In ours, we can have it 20. Doesn't sound like much, but it does make a difference. So when we're talking fractions of seconds, fractions of millimeters count. So just like always, I would never make something exact, because you put too much paint on, you put too much sand off too much somewhere, your levels change. Always have a bit of tolerance. So if the minimum is 20 mil, just give it an extra half a mil, extra mil, just in case. Okay. So I've dropped that now. Our wheels are also going to change. So the default wheels that they use for the development class and for cadet class competition are 33, those black plastic wheels, right? We now will have 26 mil wheels. So again, that's a minimum. You probably should add a tiny bit more to that, maybe. But 26 mil is your minimum regulations for your wheel now. Even if I just have a straight axle running straight through the car, I shouldn't be breaking that 3 mil rule around the cylinder chamber, or 3 mil thickness for any body part doing this. So that's your key difference. Clearly, the bottom of the block is almost touching the ground, so you can't use the bottom of the block in your design. Remember, you have to have a 2 mil track clearance. Your front wing has to be 3 mil off the track. So but obviously this can't be the bottom of your car, but that's where the bottom of the block is. And I guess in relation to where the cylinder is itself, that's sort of important. So that should be your template that you start with for your professional car. As I said, your distances between your wheels will change depending on your testing or your research. So place them, and if you can place those as early as possible, then it might save you a bit of time later on just trying to fix it and correct it. So that's it for this video.